am I doing? I'm listening to my favorite podcast.
What that is?
SCTT TV. Soul Consciousness.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of SCTT TV, the podcast. I'm your host, D-Michele, and here's my co-host, Akosua.
Hello everybody, it's me, Akosua, and we are going to discuss today part of the Flowers series and our conversion process into the film. Questions about the character of Rose. Rose is the middle sister, well, one of the middle sisters, second oldest, and there's so much that this character brings to the table. So how are you today, Miss D-Michele?
What I always say is, if I wake up, it's a good day.
I agree with that. So you have a lot on the table, and we've had a lot of great runs with the character of Rose and the Flower series. All That Blossoms was the last of part of the production, and all of these three pieces of the series will be included in the film. So today we're going to really focus on Flowers at Christmas. Isn't it so in time for the upcoming holidays? It's just right on time.
I think Rose, she finally learned from her mistakes of she never put herself first. She just had no sense of her being, and going through everything that she went through on that journey, it was trauma, but trauma and pain forces you to grow. Either you grow or you don't survive it. And she was forced to survive. She had other people, she had children to look after, so she forced herself to keep going, and along in that journey she started discovering who she was and what she wanted from life. And I won't go any further. And in Rose's case, she was so good at pretending everything was just perfect all the time, always upbeat, always the one who just kind of was always trying to keep everybody together. She couldn't keep herself together, but her family, her sisters, she's always making excuses for them and trying to keep everybody from arguing. She was just that type of person.
Like a peacekeeper.
Definitely a peacekeeper. She was, with her sisters, the person she could not be in her own home.
Wow.
Well, actually, that came natural for Rose. She was just a natural mother figure, and as a mother figure, she was always looking how she can make other people's lives better. And so when she looked at her sisters, even though they were sisters, she still looked at them as she would her children. Try to reason with them, give them reasons for, doing this, doing that, or why they should not be doing this or that, but she never pushed. It was always that, she was always that voice of reason in every situation.
Wow. Okay, well, that's amazing, because we have those in our families. We have some of those people, we kind of call them like the backbones, kind of like, the ones holding everyone together, bringing everybody together, forgiving, always being too forgiving it sometimes.
Definitely.
About everything. So, wow, that's a lot to juggle.
Well, I think I really don't think you can be too forgiving, but what I do think is when things go on for too long, you can forgive. You have, but sometimes you have to actually love from a distance.
We talk about that a lot.
Actually, that's an excellent question because she didn't manage to keep it from her children or her sisters. She just thought she did. And after a while, she couldn't even go with that story. She just kept on with the play in her head, like, if I don't say anything, it's not true. Like a lot of people do. Yeah. Deep denial.
Wow.
So that is exactly how she did that. She refused to take her mask off. She refused to admit it until it just was in her face and she had no choice.
Wow. Sometimes it has to come to that. Sometimes we have to pull the rug right up from under you. As all of us been sweeping things under the rug for a long time. Sometimes it's time to pull that rug right out from under you.
And in Rose's case, it could have cost her life.
Yeah.
And it almost did.
Wow.
Rose kind of did a shift. Where Lily was the, what do you call it, the punisher, I'll say it like that, the discipline. She was that softer side of that. And that's how she handled everything. And unfortunately, you can't handle everything that way because you get the wrong results. As any of you who've seen the play, you know that. But she shifted into like the motherly, soft role, like the advice giver, I can help you, and what do you need from me?
Like
but she
maybe even putting herself in their shoes, kind of
Mm-hmm.
putting herself in other people's shoes and looking at it more compassionately.
Exactly.
Sometimes you gotta be real. Sometimes it's time to step aside from the compassion. It's always good to have compassion in the background of what you do. That is what Lily possibly lacked. Sometimes was the compassion
Most
piece.
of the time.
But sometimes when you're overly compassionate, it could be kind of like you're not allowing the person to grow. You're
Exactly.
like enabling.
You're not helping them. You're not helping them. I mean, there's a way to say things, there's a way to do things, but there's some things, just like her home life, she refused to see. Like she's that cartoon character where there's hope. There's always tomorrow. Everything will get better. Yeah, she was that kind of woman.
The sunshine.
As a child, she was always looking up to her mother. So that's where she got, the softness in this. But at the same time, she watched Lily. So there was a part of her who wanted to take on, some of that. She wanted to be a little bit like Lily, but she wanted to be a lot like her mother. So she split the difference.
Wow.
And even though Lily was the one who looked after everybody, she looked after the girls, Rose, even then, was the one who always offered the compassion and the comfort.
That sounds like a lot to have to deal with, especially because their mother, she had to balance her work life, her children, her issues with her husband, and what other issues that come with being a mom that we don't even think about.
Single parent.
Raising 4 children, female children that go through their ups and downs.
Ooh.
And relying very heavily on Lily to make things as perfect as possible at home. Obviously it was a lot to put on a child, but it is also a lot for one parent to have to deal with.
Yes, and it's not like she wanted to do it. things happen in your life and you simply have to adjust to them the best way you can. But what the mother could have done was sat her down and explained to her and talked to her and made sure she was okay. But the mother was so traumatized by everything, she just never thought to do that. She was just on automatic. Work, come home, sleep, make sure the girls are okay. Work, go home, sleep. Over and over again, so it just got to be kind of automated, and she stopped seeing her as a little girl. And she started seeing her the same way Lily saw herself, as another woman in the house.
Yes, very much needed help for her mother. But you can also see how Rose incorporated what she wanted to see in her family life, in her own family. Even when things went bad, the reason why she didn't want to, it seemed like everything that was going on in the Flowers home was exposed. Everybody could see it. And it seemed like Rose wanted to keep those things under wraps, not put everything out on the table and have this perfect facade. Not intentionally making it a facade, but trying to live a very organized and well put together life.
That was her coping mechanism. Because when you have everything outside of you that's out of your control, you have to find a way to deal with it. That was her coping mechanism. She saw the sunny side of everything, even though in some instances there was no sunny side, but she'd make it up in her head. I would say, after reading part of the script, put yourself in her place and how would you feel? And I would say, even though you're doing her character, you have to make her your own. How would you deal with it? What would your attitude be like? And just most of all, you have to be able to convey that compassion that is Rose. Rose was known as the sweet sister. And even in everything you go through, you still have to have that. But she also had a backbone of steel. Even when she was wrong, this is not anything to be commended, but she stood by whatever she said. Right or wrong, you could depend on her to do what she said.
Wow. All right. Well, we've got a little bit of idea, a little glimpse into the life of Rose and a glimpse into the ideas of what we're looking for the film. Was there anything else that you wanted to share with our audience about the character of Rose?
I think what you need to know, like for anyone who would be considering auditioning for this role, keep in mind, Rose was an abused wife. She'd been abused for many, many years. And this is how she actually perfected she thought it was perfected, being able to hide where nobody knew. I just have the perfect life. Look at my husband. Look at our house. Look where we live. But on the inside, she was just destroyed. She was a mess. But in the end, she had to face herself. I mean, it's not about facing other people. You have to look in the mirror at some point and see yourself who you really are and not who you want to be. And that's what Rose finally did.
So, before we leave, I just had the one last question I wanted to ask. Was there anyone or any experiences that helped you shape the character of Rose? Anything that led you to create this character?
Oh, most definitely. And I think I probably mentioned this before in one of our earlier interviews. In my life, I've seen a lot of battered women, semi-battered women, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And they all do damage. People usually only look at the physical part, but any of it could take you out because you lose yourself in that. And I've seen that growing up. And I always wonder, if that was me, what would I do? How would I handle that? And in exploring that, that's where the Rose character came from. Not saying that I am actually the opposite of Rose, but except for the compassion part, I do try to keep that part. But when I look at someone and I see them hurting, you know, I've seen relatives go through that, and that's what kind of shaped Rose. But I wanted her to come out of that. I wanted her to be delivered from that.
Wow. Well, if you haven't seen the play or any of the other parts of the series, you better be there in the front row or in the best seat you can find in the theater when we come out, because you will be very amazed at the transitions of Rose, even as a mother and a sister and a daughter. We can all either see someone in our family in Rose or even ourselves.
She's very relatable.
Yes, very much relatable. Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to this series. We'll be going through the other sisters, so stay tuned as we walk down memory lane and also ask questions from the director about Violet, the third sister. And then we'll be ending the series with Ivy. So make sure that you all go to our YouTube channel and click on the notification so that you can know when the next part of the series is coming out. And as always, we welcome questions.
Yes.
Even comments or even examples in your life and any things that you can relate to with the character of Rose. We would love to hear your story and hear from you. So you could leave your comment in our YouTube channel at Soul Consciousness Theater Troupe, and also on our Facebook page, SCTT TV Podcast. This has been a great another great episode of SCTT TV.
And just remember, ladies, even though this is just a character, we're doing this so people will learn. If you've been through this, no, it's not your fault. We hear you. We see you. And we're listening.
Yes, we are. And as always, keep your soul conscious
and your vision clear.
Peace and live.